So today what we're going to be talking about is how to create relationships in Power BI, DAX in Power BI, and 3 ways to create calendar in Power BI. So let's come down. So Power BI model relationship. Power BI model relationship shows how 2 or more tables are linked. To put it another way, they show how these tables can relate to one another. Model relationship in particular link a column from one table to another table's column. So basically, in the data model, we create a relationship, and the relationship is basically used to create a link between one table to another. So there's like something that is linking them together. So that if you want to do a filter, you want to filter a table, maybe if you bring something in this table, they will be corresponding, they will be working with each other. So I guess in it. So if you want to also filter, you have to put you have to have a relationship between two tables. So you have to have a relationship between two tables. So it has to be more than one table. It's not just one table. You have to have more than one table before you need to create a relationship between them. So you have to create a relationship between two tables so that you'll be able to filter through the table. So maybe you want to bring in, like the one I was doing the other time, I brought in 2019. I brought all those tables. I brought all those tables, all those that I merged. I used folder. I did something that I slice. I filter through some data by their year. So I can say by the year of the file. So the one I did, I had 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 file. That's in it. But now the difference between that one and this one is that one is meshed. That one is a full table. It's just one table. So that one you don't need to create a relationship because everything is in one table. But what if you have that now, but you have it in different tables? Maybe 2019 is in another table, 2017 is in another table, 2018 is in another table, and I don't want to merge them. I get in it. So I can create relationship between them so that I can filter them through a particular thing I want to filter them from. I guess in it. So I can do that by that. So that's that. So yeah, I have okay, type of relationships and cardinality. So I have two types of relationship. We have one-to-many relationships and so I have one-to-many twice, many to one. So you have one-to-many, you have one-to-one, you have one-to-one relationship and many one-to-many relationship, and then many-to-many cardinality relationships. So I get it. So have these three. So I get it. So then let me move into my Power BI. Let me just open it down. So let's open Power BI. So it's coming. So while it's opening, I'll keep explaining. So the one-to-many, the one-to-one relationship is basically you want to create a relationship between one table, one data in this part, in one other one table data in here. So maybe data you have is just one in two of the columns, you have just one of those data in there. So let's say for the ID number, the okay, other ID, let's say I'm using and product this, and I have other ID, and the other side I have other ID too. So, but now the other ID can be different stuff. So you can have different other ID. If you are using a something we call the star schema, I'm going to show you you guys have to do a star schema. So if you're using a star schema where you have the big data, for example, let me go to Excel for you. I'll open Excel too. Let me open up the data. It's opening. Okay, so an example of this is what I have here now. If you look at data I have here now, you can see, let me make it bigger and then minus this. Look at the data I have here now, you see that I have one big data in which the sales, that means everything I sold. This is a company now that they are selling for Apocalypse Preps. This is just the name. a frictional company. So they're selling for Apocalypse Preps. So you're getting it. So they're selling, that's what they are selling. So you're getting, this is their sales. So basically, this is the data that all the sales that they already made. Are you getting all the sales that they already made is inside this data. All the sales that they made is inside this data. All the sales that have been made is inside this data. And this data now, if you come to this data here, we see we have the product IDs. That means these are the products that we are selling here. These are all the products we are selling, and this is the price you are selling the product, and this is the cost, product cost. So the production cost means that's the production cost, how much it takes to produce that. And then this one is the customer. So the customers that we have. So the customers that are buying from us, so any amount of customers we have, the ones that are buying from us. So these are the customers we have. So I guess these are our customers. This is their address, and this is the city they live in, and this is their state. Then this is their zip code. So this can be bigger. I'm just using this one so that will not be. So this can be bigger. Is you might get big data. If you're working for a big company, you'll get big data there. So let's say now, and this is all the sales are already made. This is, you can see the customer ID. These are the customer's ID, and I have customer ID here in this table here. This is my customer ID, and in this place I have customer ID. Then this is the customers that are buying from me. This is the product ID. So the product that they bought. The order ID. This is the order of their product. So you see, if you come to this place, okay, the order ID only comes when you're using this one now in your star schema. So you have the order ID, then you have the unit sold. So the unit sold, how many of these order or products do we have been sold? So the amount of products sold, that's the unit sold. Then we have, so this is our big data. This one is just about the product that we have. This one is just about the customers, and this is the main place that the sales are. So the sales that have been made are in here. So this is our star schema. So if you are creating any connection, because if you're trying to filter something, you're trying to filter to this table, because this is the table that contains everything, the information of people that bought. So the people that bought and the people that did not buy, these are just their information here, and this is just the product that we're selling. So this is what contains so this is our star schema. This is the table that we're going to be filtering into. So I guess so this is the table we're going to filter. So if you are bringing out anything, maybe you want to bring out unit sold per customer, you're getting it from this table, because this is the table that contains that information. So this is our fact table. This is the table that will always change. Like this is the table that will always change. If you are bringing in sales every month, the sales that have been made, this is like the table here. And these are just the stagnant table about the product that we're selling and all that. So this is our fact table. Every information I'm going to be getting when we are using Power BI is going to be coming from this table, which is the Apocalypse sales. So let me go to Power BI. So I'm going to import this data to Power BI so that I can explain more. So click on connect. Then this is the one I want to use here. So this is the data that I need. I'm going to load it. I'm just going to load it automatically to Power BI. I just want to show you stuff I have there. So it's loading. So that has been loaded. So what I can come to my it's still loading. So I come to my data. So I have the customer ID, customer name, and this. So now this is where I'm going to create this. But what Power BI does is it automatically help you create the relationship automatically by itself. It always try to, and it does a very great job. In most cases, you will not even need to come in here in this model to create a relationship unless you actually need to, because there are some scenarios like you need to come here and create your relationship yourself. So I guess there's some scenarios that you need to create the relationship yourself. So, but for this one now, Power BI already created the relationship for us. You can see we have the relationship here. You can see there's a relationship created. And if you look at the table that is using, now you can, if you look at this, so Power BI creates relationship based on columns that match from different tables. Right? So we are creating relationship from this table to this table now and this table because we have a match. There's a relationship between this table and this one now. And there's a relationship between this table and this one. But now look, there's no relationship between this table and this table. Because the customer ID, everything here is different from everything. This one is about the product. You can see you have product price, product ID, product name, and product cost. There's nothing like products, anything here. So, but in this part, we have address, city, customer ID, customer state, and zip code. But if you come to the fact table, which is the main big table that we are using, this is the fact table. So this is the fact table. So in the fact table now, we have this. If you look at the fact table now, we have the customer cost ID. So this cost ID is equivalent to this one, this customer ID here. So if you look at how it's creating this thing, so but in this one is using the customer name for us. We can actually still use the customer ID as the relationship that are creating. And if you come to this side, we have another one called in this part, you have product ID and we have product ID here too. So this is what where the relationship can be created because this table here match this one here. But for now, I'm going to delete this thing and show you what happens if you do not have any relationship in your data, in your tables. If there's no relationship between your tables, I'm going to show you. So let's say I don't have any relationship in these tables now. You can see all the relationships are gone. I don't have any relationship in this table. So let's say I come to my visualization now. So let's say I want to do something now in these tables I have. Let me open them up. So let's say I want to bring in product name, and then I want to see the product ID. For example, let me this is an example. Or let's say I want to create a measure now. For example, I want to create a measure. I want to create a measure of count of orders. So I want to create a measure of count of orders. I want to count the orders we have. So how many orders do we have? So I'm going to create a measure for that. So I'm going to show you how to create a measure in that, but you can just follow along for this part. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click on new measure for now. Let's click on new measure. So my new measure now. So remember, I want to count the orders we have. So count of order. Count of order. So I'll come here and I'll say count row. So count rows, that's what I want to use. Count row. Then I'm going to say select the table I want to use. So I'm going to say the rows I want to count is products, apocalypse, sorry, is in apocalypse sales. So apocalypse sales. So apocalypse sales, I'm going to count the row on that. So click on enter on apocalypse sales. So I'll know. So this is my. So I have that now. So I have my count of order measure here. So let's say I bring in a table now. For example, I'm using a table. I'm going to bring in a table. Then I bring in the product name from this table now. I see product name is in the Apocalypse store. It's no longer in the Apocalypse sales table. So you can see, let's see now. You see, it's in the Apocalypse store. So I'm bringing the product name from here. I'm putting it here. Then let's see load. So now after the product name, I want to bring in the count of orders I just did now. So bring it in. So see. So now you see, if you look at this table now, you look at this. It's showing me that the orders we have there is 74, and you see count of orders for each one is 74, and this cannot be possible. So I get it. So and total order that we have is 74. If you say count of orders is 74, how can the total orders we have be 74? So I get to so that's the reason why it's showing like this is because we are getting the name of the product from this product name, and then there's nothing like there's no relationship between these two. So there's no relationship between the Apocalypse store to the Apocalypse sales. I guess in it. So that these two tables, there's no relationship between them. So what we need to do now is create a relationship. So if you create a relationship, so basically what it's meant to do for us like this is it's supposed to show us how many of this row contain backpack. How many backpack are there in this 74 we have? How many backpack? Then it comes to the next one. How many of these do we have? How many of the nylon globe do we have? How many of these stainless steel axe do we have? So all these stuff, how many of them do we have? Do you get? That's how you're supposed to do it, and then it come down and give us total, which is 74. But it's doing it like because there's no relationship between them. So just bringing this thing on its own, and then bringing this one down on its own, and then because you have a it has to follow on this thing that is showing. All this one that you already reported a table here. So it has to also follow on this table that we have. So it's going to put 24 in each of them, put 74. But let's come down here now and let's create a relationship. So create a relationship between these two tables now. So what do you have in this table that you have in this table? So you're going to look. So what do you have in this table that you have in this table? So there are two ways you can do that. You can just come to manage relationship and then tell Power BI to help you detect relationship. So you can tell Power BI to help you detect relationship. So what I can do, if I say auto detect relationship, it's going to create the auto detect relationship for me automatically. But what I want to do is new. Let's see. So in new now, I want to create a relationship between from the Apocalypse store to the Apocalypse sales. So that's what I want to create. So I want to create. So you see, it automatically selects the color that matches each other in that table for me. So you can see it. So the product ID and the product ID from this part, they match. So you automatically create that for me. You see the match has been created. So I have the match in between them here now. So I have product ID, see the match, and I have product ID here, and you can see also see the match here. So I have the match here. Then now I can click on OK. So the relationship will be created for me and then close. So now you see that relationship has been created. So in here now I have a one-to-many relationship. In here I have a one-to-many relationship. So you can see, let's check it out. So you see the relationship is now going from the product ID in the Apocalypse store to the product ID in the Apocalypse sales. So that's what makes them match. So let's go to our visualization now and let's see. So you can see now this thing now is not correct. So you can see we have 5 pack sold. We have tape 9. We have multi-tool survival knives. We have 13. We have waterproof matches. We have 4. We have waterproof jacket. We have 7. And total of the orders we have is 74. So we have this order in this part. So because there's a relationship between those two, it will be able to do something like this. And you can actually filter them depending on what you want to use. You can use filter. So you filter. So you can filter them by that. So you can filter them by this. So that's how you create a relationship. And then let's come back. And that's the main reason why we need to create a relationship. So that's one of the main reasons why we need to create a relationship. So then if I come here now, I can now also create a relationship between this table now. So because if I want, let's say I want to know in each state, how many orders do we have in each state? If I do that same thing, it's still going to give me that same error. So I'm going to use my what's it called? Metrics table. So let's say I want to see in each state how many orders do we have. So I'm going to say how many orders. So no, but this one is going to show me 7. Let me put count. So I'm going to use count of orders. So how many orders do you have in each state? So you can see it's showing us the same thing because there's no relationship there. So I'm going to go back and create the relationship. I'm going to go back. Okay, so what's the match between these two? So for this one now, we have 2 matches. We have the 2 that matches each other. So the one that we have customer ID matching customer ID here, and we have customer name, customer matching customer here. So you can either use any one of them. So I'm going to use this one. So the other way we did is coming to manage and to do everything, but I'm going to use another. So we can also do this way by dragging the customer name to this customer name here. It's going to create a relationship. So if I drag this to this place, it's going to help me create a relationship. So let's see. So you can also call it many to one or one to many relationships. So everything is over. One to many relationships here. So you have one from one here to this. So this one here is filtering this one here. So it's going to be one to many relationships. So I have one to many relationships. So if I come down to my here, so you can see it's now. So in this state we have 20. In this state we have 16. In this state we have 16 again here. We have 22 here. Did you get it? So that's basically that, and we have 74 orders. So you can see that that the relationship has been created now, and the two of them are working together. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes.
You understand that, right? So that's
Yeah.
how
I
you.
understand that the relationship is what makes the counting done, the counting being done like well.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if there's
that's
no
good.
relationship, everything will not be counted.
You
It will
just be
show
stagnant. Yeah, it should just be stagnant. It should just be showing what he has in that value. You should not be able to filter down depending on the this thing you have there. So I get it. So you have to create a relationship between the both of them to be able to do that. So if there's no relationship there, all this, as I was showing you, the thing will not be working. But as I said before, Power BI also helps you detect the relationship when you are bringing your data in. So in most cases, you will need to be creating a relationship between tables. So in most cases, you won't need to do that. So that, but let's go back to here. So, and as also they also have different types of relationships that can be created. So let me double click here, and I'm going to open up the manage area. Then in here now, so I can double click to do this, double click on the relationship, or I can just come to, sorry, let's just load. So I can come to manage relationship. So I already have these two relationships. So if I want to see, so I can open it up. Then here now, so from this cardinality now, I can see the different cardinalities I'll have. So we have many to one cardinality, we have one to one cardinality, and we have one to many cardinality, and then we have many to many cardinality. So you have, so, and you have to also make sure that the relationship that you are creating, we are using the right cardinality for it. So getting it. So for example, now for this relationship that we are creating for this part, let me show you the data table. So come in, close this for now. I'm going to come back to that. I want to show you the table, the data. I'm going to show you in the data view. So let's come here. So in here now, you see that this table that I have here now is the sales table. So this is the full sales table. And in this sales table, we might have, for example, we might have the same ID, the same custom ID buying different products. So you might have, so you can have a duplicate value there. So you can have a duplicate for this ID, there will be a duplicate. So for this 1, 2, 3, 4, you can see, come here, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. You see, that's Uncle Jonas Prep Store. So you see, so that's a duplicate of that. So that's the main. That means that there are many of these stuff. So that you don't just have a unique value, you have plenty of those values in there. So that's why the maybe one to many comes in. So for example, using now, it's using okay, it's really like this. So it's using one to many relationship for it. So that means that in this table we just have one of those ID. So we have in this table we have that ID one just once. There's no duplicate of that ID. We just have it once. But in this one we have it too many places. We have it like 3 or 4 times. That's a duplicate. You have a duplicate. That means that customer bought from us 3 or 4 times about different products. 3 or 4 times. Bought different products from us. So that's why you have a one to many relationship between these two now. So this is a very perfect relationship to have between this table. If I try to change it, let's see. Let me try changing it. So you can go through up here and go back there, but I'm going to click twice here and then open up that place. So here from this cardinality, I change it to okay, many to one. So this cardinality you selected isn't valid for this relationship. So that means this cardinality I selected is not valid for this relationship. So this between these two, so that you don't have anything like, for example, now this prep store. What we have here is going from prep store to this part. So it's going to be from this, and remember the prep sales, sorry, not Apocalypse sales to customer information. I remember that the Apocalypse sales, we have duplicate values there. So a customer bought 3 or 4 products from us. I guess in it, a customer bought 3 or 4 products from us. So that means in this Apocalypse sales, so we are going to have that customer name coming out more than once. That means that you have duplicate values. That means you have many values there that matches to this. I guess in it. So, but in this part, you have just one. So basically, what we can do if you're showing something like this, and I want to use the one to many, just come up here and change this one to customer information, then change this one to Apocalypse. Then you can now create your relationship between these two tables. And now you see the one to many is now working. So now if I change it back to many to one, it's showing me invalid. So I just need to know, so it's going from many to one now. So, and this one is just one. So I just need to put this one that has the many up here and the one that has the one down here. So I can now use the what's it called? Many to one. So this one is basically if you just draw your this thing, it's going to detect the one you have there and then make use of it for you. So this one is, if you want to change it, that means you have to change the two of them, the direction of the two of them now in there. So you have time, you have to use. So if for example, if I change this to many, so it's going to show me if this relationship has cardinality many to many. This should only be used if it is expected that either column customer and customer contains unique values. So if it contains unique value, that means in this place you have plenty of these values. In this place you have the plenty. So they are going to, so you have two of these separate values in. So I'm going to show you when you need to use the many to many. But for this one, it's not going to work out for this part. It's not going to work out because we just have in this first one, we have that value just once, and this one have it plenty times. So you can only do one to many or many to many cardinalities on that. Right? So basically, what the cardinality means is, so I want to filter this. Sorry, let's just load. I want to filter this table I have here from this table. So I want to filter. I want to filter this table with this table. That's basically so everything. So I want to filter this table here with this table. So I want to filter this table with this table, and I also want the information that I'm going to be passing through to recognize each other. They should recognize the relationship that is there, so that when I do something like that I did, it will be able to work. Or when I filter, for example, let's create something that is filter. For example, I want to filter now. I have I want to filter by product. So let's say because I created relationship between these two now, I can filter. Let me filter. Let me use my slicer. So I'm going to click out of this and create my slicer. Okay, so then I'm going to use I want to filter by product. Okay. Okay, so I want to filter by product ID. So product ID, because product ID is there. So the product ID won't work. Oh, let's use by reducing the ID. That's what this one can. Let's use something like a name. The product name is not here. We'll have used product name, but the product name is here. Let's use. Okay, for this one, let me use customer name. So I want to filter by customer name. I'm gonna remove this and then use my slicer and then customer name, customer here. So I click on this customer. It's going to filter that and show me that customer is in New York and this is the amount of product bought by that customer. So it's also going to filter in this area too that we have here. It's going to show us the orders, amount of order that customer ordered in each of the products we have. So if I come to this part, so you have the ordered one of Apocalypse this, and in this one he ordered 4. So you can use, because we have a relationship between them now, we can use this to filter the content that are inside this table. So I get it. So we can use this to filter the content that are inside the table. You can also use it from here. So you can also use it from this part. So if I want to use it from this part, which is this customer, I can use product name. For example, let me use product name. If I have a relationship between those two, I can use my product name. So let's use product name. So I'm going to use slicer. Then because I'm taking it from this table, it's no longer in this table now. So I'm taking it from this table. Let's see. So product name. So you can have that now. So have 5 backpack was bought, and then in it, these are the states that 5 backpacks was bought. So we have from New York 1, we have Texas 2, we have other ones for those backpacks. So now, because there's a relationship between those two, that's the only way we can do this filtering. So that's the only way we can do this filtering. And now we are filtering. So this one to many means that we want to use this. So we can be able to use this this table here, this store, to filter out or filter a particular product from this one. So that means we can do a filtering going from this one to this one. So doing a filtering from this one to this one. That's what we are creating a one-to-many relationship. So there's another way we can do for them to filter each other. So we want to filter them between each other. So maybe we want it to go from this place to this place, and want this place to go from this place to this place. So I'm still going to show you how to do that so I can be able to do that. But for this one, we're just trying to create a relationship that like this now, we'll be able to filter using any of the columns or anything from this part, we can use it to filter down products from these columns from this apocalypse sales. So can be able to use it to do that from this apocalypse sales. So that's that. So I can also, so I already created the relationship now. So I can see what I just did. I have that working now. So I can filter from this to this now. So they are already working. So let's say, for example, now I want to create another relationship now. So let's say, I'm sorry, not relationship. So let's say I want to filter, but now the column I want to use is no longer coming from this. It's going to be coming from this part to this part. So let's say I want to filter, I want to show customer name, and in that customer name, I want to show the product that customer bought. So the product that customer bought, I want to see that. So I getting it. So let's say I'm going to come to this part and I'm going to create another table. So let's clear the filtering and create another table. Then I want to have for my customer information. For my customer information, I want to have customer name. So this is my customer name. So then from my not this part. Okay, this one. So from my Apocalypse store, I want to see the product ID. So let me I'm going to do something. Let me count the product first. I'm going to do a count of column first. I'm going to create this thing here, a measure. So for just bear with me, I just want to create it so that I'll be able to show you, do what we did in this part. I want to create a measure from here. I want to create a measure count of products, count of products, count of products. Then here I want to show column. So what I want to count is column rows. I want to count column rows. Then I want to count the Apocalypse store. So Apocalypse store. So that's there, and then enter. So I have that there now. So I have that counted. So I want to add the measure to this table I have. So where's that measure? So this is the measure. Add it here. So have now, instead of us having the amount of this that this one bought now, we're having 10, 10, 10, 10. So like the way we had the other time, where there's no relationship between these two, we are still having the same thing here. So but if you come here, we have a relationship that is going this way. Relationship is going from this table to this table. Relationship is also going from this table to this table. So, but now, what the relationship that is going here is doing is just going from this one just to this table. And this one is just going from this one just to this table. It's not actually affecting anything that you're going to be doing here. The filtering that is doing, that's why I was telling you filtering. The filtering that he was doing, that it filters the content, is just coming from this one to this one. This one now, this one you have here, it's just coming from this one to this one. And it's just also coming from this one to, so there's nothing, it's not, these two are not affecting each other. There's no these two affecting. So what we can do is, we can use what is called cross filtering. Cross filter. So what we do, double click here and go here. So we can see what cross filter direction. Cross filter direction. We have the single direction and we can also do both. So we have the single and then we can do both. So if you do the both now and click on okay. So you have it's going to load. So now if you look at this icon that we had here now, you see we have two now instead of having one. So have two here instead of having just one here. Right? So we have two of this direction now. So that means this one, the product, anything that is coming from here can filter what we have here. Anything that is coming from here can filter what we have here. Are you getting it? So I can do the same thing for this one too. I can do the same thing from this one too. So put it to both and click on OK. So that means now that anything that I have, anything that's coming from this part can filter this part. Anything that's coming from this part can filter this part. So if I come here now and come to my visual, and you can see it now. So I have for the Alex, you can see how many of those, how many products he bought. This bought this of like that. You know, you have 10 products. How many of those products did this person buy? Bought 9. How many of these products did this person buy? About 7. How many of these the products that we have did this person buy? About 8 of those products. So we bought 8 of those products. This one bought 10 of those products that we have. So that's showing us the real this thing there, because now we have the cross. That's what the cross filtering does. So it means that the whole table now can filter each other. So that means I can filter from here to here, and I can filter from here to here. So anything that goes from here is going to go to this part. Anything that goes from here is going to, so that means these two now can filter each other. So that means because everything I'm going is going through to this part too, and everything I'm doing is going through to this part. So that means the both of them can, if you do something from this part, it will be able to filter this one, and if you do something from this part, it will be able to filter this. So that means now, with that being like that now, that means the two of them has a relationship. So if you go to your visuals and use them, it will now work instead of showing us the way it was doing before. So it will work perfectly with your visuals instead of doing what it was doing before. You can have what you have here now. So do you understand that? Do you understand that, Mr. Osho? Good evening, sir. Mr. Osho?
Yeah, good evening. Oh, I didn't even meet my. Yeah, good evening.
Yeah.
Mr. Kisling.
Good evening, sir.
I'm just
Yes,
trying
sir.
to. I'm following
So
up. I'm following up. I came late.
Oh, okay. But Mr. Kojo, do you understand?
Not really. It's a lot of
Then
information.
Yeah, I
Then
can. Okay.
another
Okay.
thing, this
Mr. Osho, you want to say
visual, this visual display is too small. So we're
okay, you're not
struggling
seeing it.
to
Oh,
see.
sorry.
It's the yeah,
Let me
the box 6
let me make it bigger.
that's small. Then this this thing is blocking some of the
this thing, Abi?
this thing that our name is what we have our name
Okay.
on the Zoom
Well,
at
let
this
me
side.
make it bigger. Oh, let me make them bigger. Okay, so I'm coming. So, it's okay. So let me make this bigger. How much? 1,000. So it's a bit better now, right?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kisley.
Yes, sir.
Then this thing that is blocking outside is Zoom name. Please, can you help us to minimize that?
This one, Abi?
That black Zoom that has our name.
I minimize mine. Let me see if I can remove it. I think you should be able to minimize yours now. I already minimized mine from here. Let's see. Let's see. So I think you need to minimize it from your own side. Because I already minimized mine, it's not meant to be blocking. I think you need to minimize it from your own side.
Yes, I've done it. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go through that one more time. So as I was saying, so basically, let me go back here. So basically, the model and the creating relationship is basically used for creating a connection. So let's say like it's a connection now between these two tables. So creating a connection between these two tables. So now, for example, another reason why you need to create a connection is what if what you are looking for example, what we did before, for the way we merge, we brought from folders and we merge everything together. That one has two advantages. So it has advantages that we don't need to have different tables that we need to be creating a relationship inside and be doing what we want to do. So I guess in it. So that one, everything is in one big table. So if you are doing our visualization, everything is already there. So we don't need to be. So if you bring this and bring this, you can filter them because they are in the same table. So everything is in the same table. So for the other one I did, I merged, I bring from one column from this table to put in this table. I don't have that. So some of the information that I need to use to analyze my data are in different tables. Some of them are in other different tables. So like for this one now, I don't have product cost in this table. It's not here, but it's in this table. And what if I want to use it now? I will now, if there's no relationship between this, I will not be able to use that now because it's just in this table and this table are just there. So I get it. So, but if it was in this table, I can use it to filter and do everything I want to do. If it was in just this one table, so because now they are in different tables, I need to create a relationship between the both of them so that if I want to filter, if I want to bring this and bring this, and I want to filter them. All the stuff that I do whenever these things are together. So if all the things that I can do if the tables are together, when I create my relationship, I will be able to do that. And so, like filtering the data, maybe I want to see amount of this sold in this or unit what's it called? Cost, production cost for each of the products. So I have that there, but maybe I want to see it in my own sales table. So I want to filter it. I want to filter out from my own sales table. Maybe I have other contents that I want to see between that. I want to, and all those contents are in my sales table. And that product cost is not in my sales table. It's in my store table. So that's my category store. So that means that, but to be able to filter that, to do that that I want to do, where I'm going to be seeing that, I'm going to be seeing the customer name and the cost per each product that they bought. So when I'm going to be doing something like that, I need to create a relationship between them because that column is not in this my fact table. This my fact table is the table that have all the sales. So that's the sales table here. It's not in this table. So I need to create that relationship to be able to do something like that. So that's the basic reason why we need to create a relationship between tables. Another reason is if you want to create a measure too, like if you want to use your DAX, if you want to use your DAX, you need to also have a relationship to be able to use your DAX. I'm going to be using DAX across two tables. So I guess you need to have a relationship between those two tables. So I guess because any DAX that I create, for example, if you are creating a measure, you have three ways to use DAX. You have the table, the column, and the measure. So if you're using a measure, you have to have a relationship between those two tables and I'm getting that stuff, getting the stuff from. So there has to be a relationship between them to be able to use that. So and also to filter, you have to have a relationship. So because that is not inside there, so we need to create a relationship. That's why we need to create a relationship. So now we have three types of relationships that we can create. So depending on how our data is, so it depends on the data that you're using. So you don't magically have this next. So it depends on the type of data you're using. Because the data we are using now, we have a fact table, which is this our table here. So the type of data, this table that I'm using, what is mostly called is a star schema. Because in star schemas, you have a fact table. A fact table being the big table that contains all the sales that you already made. So all the sales that already been made are in there. And also in the fact table, you have a product, a column from the store table is going to be in the fact table. A column from the customer information is going to be on the fact table. So the fact table is something that contains information information that is from in this one and information that is in this one, and also all the sales. Right? All the sales that we have is in this fact table because this is basically this is the table that we need in this place. This is the table that we need in this place now. So basically, so now creating a relationship means that we want to filter out some product, and in that product, and we want to filter with some columns, and some of the columns are in other tables which are not in our star schema, which are not in our fact table, sorry, not star schema, which are not in our fact table, which is the big table, which is the sales. Targeting it. So that's why we need to create a relationship now. So to create a relationship now, we have to make sure that there is a match there is a column that match that is in the sales table that is also in the store table. So there should be a match between those two. And there should also be a match between the table of the customer name or where the customer info is. It should be a column that matches table. So there is always going to be a column that matches because this is our fact table. There must be a column that match. Because if your data developer, maybe for the company I'm working, the data developer that is doing that, he always has to have a matched table unless he wants you to be, unless he put everything in one column for you, unless he's putting everything in one full table, everything is going to be in one full table. But if he's not putting it, if he's going to giving you different tables, it has to be a match because you need to create a relationship between those tables. There has to be one column there that are matching that we are going to be using to create our relationship. And that relationship means that we can do what we can do whenever the table was merged. We can do everything we can do when that table was merged. But when we create a relationship, we can do the same thing without the table being merged. So you it? So now, and as I was saying, we have 4 types of relationships that can be created. We have 4 that is called cardinalities. We have 4 of them that can be created. So for example, I'm going to delete all this. Sorry, please. Can you guys just give me a minute? They just took my data. I need to on gen because my battery is not that good. So just 1 minute. I'll just tell someone to help me on it. Just 1 minute. So sorry guys, I'm back. Let's continue. Okay. So as I was saying, so to be able to filter this through these columns now, I need a relationship. So how to create my relationship? I can do it 2 ways. I can come to my manage relationship and use that to do that. If I come to manage relationships here, then I can come to new relationship. I want to create a new relationship. I want to create a new relationship. So I'll come here, select the tables, the tables I want to create the relationship to. So in which tables do I want to create the relationship between? I want to create a relationship between my sales table and my store table. So now automatically Power BI helps me detect the relationship. So what's the relationship that we have between these two tables now? So what is the relationship we have here? The relationship we have here is in the product ID column. So you see product ID and it's called many to one. So because the first table we have is the sales is the apocalypse sales, and in this apocalypse sales we have product ID that duplicated. We have like product ID like 4 or 5 times that comes 4 or 5 times. I guess because our product can be bought 4 or 5 times in the product sales, because the product sales is the big table that contains all the products that have been bought, and you know that our product is going to be bought more than once. So I guess a particular product can be bought more than once. So that means you have many of those product ID in the sales table, and then you have one of it in the, because that's just the product name and the ID. That's just the identity here. This is just the small table that contains the identity about everything about the product. Getting it? But this is the sale where the orders are in. So all the orders are already been made, all the sales have already made is in this place. So we can sell one product more than one. So have, and the first table we have is the fact table, which is the sales table. So from this sales table we have so from this sales table now, from this sales table to this one is going to be a many to one. It's going to be a many to one. So if you want to change it, if you want it to be one to many, you have to put your apocalypse store up and then sales table down. So you are going, if you do it like that, you're going to have one to many. But with this now, it's going to be many to one. So I'm going to leave it like this and then click on OK. So that's how I create my many to one. So if I close that, so I can also create a new one. So I also want to create another one. I want to also create another one between the apocalypse sales and then the customer name. So probably also automatically help me select that. You can see you have the customer here and the customer here, they are matching. So there's a match between them. That's the only way we can create a link between them. Remember, you have to have a match of a column in between those two tables. So the match for this column here is customer. So we have complete match. So customers, we have them here. So that's what we use that for. To have many to one. So if you want to change it, if you change it to one to one, it's going to change this. The cardinality you selected isn't valued for this relationship, so it's not going to work. So I have to always select the right one. So many to one is going to work to have a many to one relationship there. So our relationship has been created between those two tables now. So our relationship has been created between this table, so it's going to load. So you see, our relationship has been created between this table to this table and this table to this table. Do you understand that, guys? Sir? Can you guys still hear me, Mr. Kojo?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
You understand this part?
Yes,
Because I want to know you understand before I move on. So you understand this part, right? Okay. So that's how you create that relationship now. So now the reason why we need to do the cross filtering is because now, let's say we want to filter through this table now. So as I was saying, the time I showed you guys that time, this table now, these two tables, without a relationship being between them. For example, okay, I think I have one of the data there. So let's wait for it to refresh and to show us product name and order. I think it's coming from, let me check this. Okay, this is it up here. This is what I'm actually looking for up here. So you can see it's not working with this because this cannot be, this thing that we're having here cannot be. How can we have 10 products for Alex? He bought 10, this one bought 10, and this one bought 10, and this one bought 10. And I'll have 10 orders. So what it's supposed to showing us here is supposed to showing us how many of these products this person bought. If this one can actually happen because this guy can actually buy 10. It can actually happen for this one. But for this, our data is not accurate. So this all of them can buy 10 of this thing, but we have 10 products. Because what I'm using is count of products. So then the count of the products. So count of the products, then we have how many of the products does this person buy. But if we were one thing I want to say, if we were getting this count of products from the what's it called? From the apocalypse sales, it will be different because that one has more. But where we are getting it from is from the apocalypse store, and in the apocalypse store we just have 10. Apocalypse store, let's go to, okay, product here, Apocalypse store, and the product ID, we counted the product ID, count the row. So have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's just what we have there. So that's why we're having 10 of those stuffs there. That's it. And what we want to make is how many of that particular product did this person buy? So if I get in, how many of that particular product did this person buy? So we're going to have 10. So we have 10, 10, 10. But that's not correct because there's no relationship going. The way we are getting these two now is in a different table. We're not getting it from the sales table, which is the fact table. We are getting it from the customer information table and the Apocalypse store table. So there's no filtering going through them. There's no relationship between the two of them. So the filtering that we are doing is not going to reach. It's not going to go from this, for example, let's say. So it's not going to go from this one, and it's not going to be able to reach this one. It's just going to go from this one to this one. So it's going to always stop at this part. It's going to filter this one, and because there's no way for the one that is going from. There's no way for any relationship to enter to this part. Are you getting it? So we are just filtering it through going through this part. This is just going through this part. So that means this one can only filter this one, and this one cannot filter this one. So that's why we are having something like that. So I get it. For the same thing with this one, so anything that is coming from this part can only filter this one. It cannot filter this one. Anything that is going to this part can only filter this one. It cannot filter it because there's not direction, like the relationship that is saying that this one too should go to this one. We are having the direction, like that's the filter direction is just going one place. It's just going, that means this one. For this one, it's just going one place. That means this one. So we need to put another direction that's saying that any filter that is coming to this part can also touch this one too. Any filter that is coming to this part can also touch this one that we have here too. So that's why we need to put the cross filter direction. That means the filter can go either way. So you can go this way or this way. So if anything that's coming to this part can also go up and touch anything that at the end of this part. So anything that's coming from this part can also go like this and touch the thing that is at the end of this part. And anything that's going here can go like this and touch anything that is at the end of this part. So that's why we need to put our cross filter. So double click here, open up your edit relationship listing. So then come here and change so if you see we have just single, we can change it to both. So cross filter is now changed to both. So we're having a filtration that the filter now is going to be going from this part to, let's click on OK for this one now. So both, so it's going to load. So now it actually now shows us. Let me increase this so that you can actually see that. I don't know if you're seeing it. So if you see the direction now, this direction that is here, you can see this. I can see this direction. You see the direction that's going down and the one that's going up. But for this part, we just have one that's going down like this. So I see it. So we just have one that's going down and there's no one going up. So if you want it to go cross between each and touch any other table, not just the fact table, you create a cross direction filter. So that's what we have. The filter, that means anything that's coming from this can filter this, and anything that's coming from this can filter this. So I can also do the same thing for here, create a cross direction filter. So I'm going to double click it. And then I'll click on OK. Click on OK. Click on OK for the boot. When it's a boot, and then we'll have that now. You can see the direction now is now to. So that means the filter can go either two ways. It can go from this to this, and it can also come from this part to this part. That means that anything that we're filtering, anything that we are trying to filter that is coming from this now, be able to touch the one that we have in this place. Do you understand it now? Mr. Akojo, Mr. Osho, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Osho,
Yes.
Okay, that's nice.
Yes,
So
yes, I do.
Yeah, so that's how we create a relationship. Mr. Jude, I know you're just coming in. You need to have to watch the video.
Yes, I will.
Or I'll go back at the end. So let's move on. So that's how we create our relationship. So we can bring in everything we want to bring in now in this, and it's going to filter it by them because we have a relationship going through the tables. And so the filtering will also work from this table to this table, this table to this table. So because our relationship is there and we can do that. So that's how we create a relationship in Power BI. So then I also want to show you, as I said, I'm going to show you when you need to use a many-to-many cardinality. So I'm going to open up another data. There's another data I created to be able to explain that better so you can see. And the one-to-one. It's coming now. Oh, let me just even just come in. I think I should just import it here and then. create a new distance. Okay. So where is it? Where did I keep that data? Where is in desktop? So I can say just one small student table that I want to use to show that. So where is it? Many to many desktop. Okay, so this is what I want to show. So I don't need to transform, so I'm going to just load. So that you can do the many to many in two ways. So you can use the many to many cardinality in the, or you can improve. There's a way you can just improvise instead of using the, because even if you bring the table, using the many to many will still not be that okay. So I'm going to bring, so I'm going to create this I'm going to create a new here so that I can use this particular new relationship I want to create. So for this, I want to create for students. Yeah. So this part. So, so I'm going to use just these two. So now you see automatically it creates a relationship for us. Power BI tries to detect the one that you can detect. So you see, there's no way you can detect a one. So let me show you this table. I want to show you this data that I have, the two data. So you can see this. Okay, this is not the first one. Let me go to this one. So this is my student. So what I did is I created an ID. I created a table of students, students and the classes that they're meant to attend. So you know, if a student is attending in a university, a student can be attending 3 or 4 classes, right? And you can have 4 or 5 students attending 3 or 4 classes. You can also have 4 or 5, like it's going to go. So there are many to many. So this, I have 4 or 5 students from this part that is attending a class in this place. So this is my students here. So this is my students class. So you can see. So in this table, you see that we have 7 students, and these 7 students can be attending 4 classes or 5 classes that we have in this class table. So this can be, so that's meant to be a many to many, but because many to many does not really work that well. What Power BI does is it leaves many to many aside and try to detect another relationship. But let me come here. So let's say I have, for what it tries to detect for me here is 1-to-1, because if you look at the ID you have here and the ID you have here, they have ID and the ID is basically like the same thing. Let me show you on the table again. So you have our student ID is okay. Our ID number is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the ID, the class ID. So the class ID is this. Then come to student's own. You see the student ID is also this. This is the student ID here. So we have 1 to 7. So we have 1 to 7 student ID. So if you come to this class that we have, you see, so this student ID, that means now okay, this is student ID here. So you see that student 1 is attending math and is also attending English. So that's two classes that is attending in this table. And student 2 is attending physics. Student 4 is attending chemistry and is attending biology too. Student 5 is attending biology. Student 6 is attending English, and student 3 is attending physics too. So that means that now we have 3 or 4 students there that are attending 2 or 3 classes in this place here. That means you have many of the students that are attending 2 or 3 classes here. So that means that there are many, not just one. They're not unique. The value are not, you don't just have that one value on this and one value on this place. For this ID though, that's what I'm using as. But you don't just have one here and one here. You have many of it here and many of it here. So but what it does, what Power BI does is, instead of using that many to many now, it now uses this ID you have here. See ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, this ID is corresponding and it's also corresponding with each other on this part. You have for this part is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But this is not what we want to do. So we want to use, let's see that many to many. So I'm going to come to my visualization here. So I'm going to change this thing here to double tap. to many to many, and I'm going to change the student ID and also in class ID here. So the relationship has cardinality many to many. This should only be used if it is expected that either classes. So I'm going to click on. Okay, no, course switching. So it's two, so it's going to be both. Let me put on. Okay. So it's going to put in my many to many. But if you look at it, you see that the link is actually breaking. You have many here and you have many here. So this is also, it's not that okay to use. So there's a way you can do it that will always work perfect. So what you need to do now is you can create another table. So we have, remember that in this one we have here, what we did is we have one fat schema, one big table that is getting this thing from this part and getting from this part. So what we can do is, now instead of having a star schema, we have just that small one, a small table, just like these ones. It can be something like one of these ones. But in that small table now, we have information that is coming from this table here and information that is coming from this table. That's the perfect way to solve that. So we have an information that is coming from this table, and information is also coming from this. So like that now, I have to use my Power Query. So I go to my transform, data and transform. Right? So let's go. So now so what I need to do is I want to create a new duplicate value. Let me create a duplicate value. So let me just right click here and duplicate. So duplicate it, then rename it. So I want to rename it to enrollment. So okay. I'll name it anything, but I'm going to name it enrollment. Then I want to what I need, not here. I selected the wrong table that I want to use. So this is not the table I want to duplicate. This is not the one I was using. So this is the class and this, that's what I want to duplicate. I want to duplicate another one. So let's say, let me duplicate the class. Go the class. Then name it to enroll. Enrollment. Name it to enrollment. Then click on OK. Then now, so what I need here is just the student ID. So student ID from this part, that's what I need. I don't need any other one. So student ID from here. I want to remove, select this. So, and I want to remove columns. So then now I want to merge. So I want to merge a column. I want to merge a column with this one so that I can add a particular table. So the table I want to merge these two, and I want to get this class ID from here. So I'm going to come here, click on my merge, and then create a. Sorry, I made a mistake. So to merge it, I need a table that is matching each other. So I want to remove this, then first of all, create the match first. Yes. This first row as header. Then go the match first. So merge them first. So I'm going to merge those two tables. So I'm going to merge with the. I already have this there. So I'm going to merge with the. I'm going to merge with class. So I already created from class. I'm going to create student class. So I want to create. So what do I want to merge them to the? I think the class ID and the student ID should be perfect. So click on OK. So now I have that. So I can remove these two. So remove these two. And then I just want the class ID. Okay. So I have that here. So let's remove this. Is it class ID that I'm meant to take? Student name. Yeah, that's ID. There's a mistake. Let me rematch that. It's not supposed to have now here. It's supposed to match. Okay, it's okay. So this one is having maybe in those area there's not that student is not having any class on that part or something. There's no student that's having a class there. So let's check. Yeah, ID one now. Right. Let me rematch. Let me delete this. I'm gonna rematch it. Okay, I selected the wrong columns. So create new merge. So I'm gonna merge to new table. So I want to merge class. First, class. So I want to create my relationship between these two here. 6, 7 match. Okay. And click. So first of all, remove these two. And then remove color. And then class ID. Okay. So this is okay. So basically, what it means that there are some of the classes there that does not have any student attending them. So that's basically what this might mean for error. So with this, okay, I can remove the null part, just remove that part space. You can remove it here, but let me just leave that. I'm just clicking on close, close and apply. And come, sorry, let it load. Then I should tell me that now. So you can see now, I can now remove this. I don't need this again. So I need to bring in, where is that table? So, not sure. I want to show. I want to create a relationship between this table now, and then I want to create to this table too. So now, remember that there's going to be a relationship between them because this content over here is also here. So what we need to do just do is select the students here, and then this many to many now. Let's this one. Then which one is the student? So students are going to be getting the student ID. So we have that working. So we have this relationship created between these two now. Is going to appear. What is not visible here? It's showing here, but it's not showing on the other side. Let me try. Okay. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show. I wanted to show it. So you can see now. So we have a relationship between these two tables now. So you have a relationship between these tables. So I can also create the relationship from this one to this side now. So I can say, so what is here that is here? So it should be for class. So it's going to be student ID. So for this part, student ID. So this one is going to be here. So it's fine. So you guys see now. So here now we have many of this stuff. So I have many of this stuff. So basically, this is how you can create. This is also how you can also use the many to many relationships. I guess. So instead of you now creating the many to many relationship, you can create another table with what you want to use to create that relationship. That's it. What is that you have here that I want to do? So you just bring it to another table. And in that table now, you can have a cross filter for this part going through this area. And so this one to filter out this thing would actually work. So let's see. Let me make a space. Those are too big. Make a space. Push this up. So come down. So let's say now I want to cross filter. So, but another thing is, if I also want to use, for example, now from this table, let's say if I want to filter this table, if I want to filter through this one to this one now, they have a relationship going to this, but they are not filter. So I have to create a cross filter direction. So cross directional filter. So you can have to, so you just make this go to this part and make this go to this part. So that also affect this. So you're seeing it. But with this now, I'll be able to filter my data perfectly. So let me say I want to see, let me bring a table. So in this table, I want to see my the student. Let's bring student name. Student name. This is student ID. This is my student name. Okay. Student name. So student name, I want to see the ID. So I have Alex. So this student ID. And so this is the ID of this student. So this one is okay, but let's use class ID. You see class ID now. You can see that now it's duplicating it into two because one student can be going to two classes. So you have Thomas going to two classes. So you have so what you can do is just count how many listening you have here, then put this in. So I'm going to do a count so that instead of it showing me how it's going to show me the amount, how many times the student is going there, how many classes the student is attending. So how many classes the student is attending. So I will need to count the row first to be able to do that. If I don't count, it's just going to show me the student, the classes, the ID, the class ID, and the listing there. For that, so I can also do put my student ID. I need class. Let's put class in there. So you see. So this one is empty because it's not attending that. It doesn't have any classes attending. So you have the student ID, but the student is not actually attending any of the classes that we have. So the own class listing is empty. So we have none there. So the same thing for this part. So now, so I have this like this now. So if I want to know the amount exactly, I don't want to see them differently. I can just count my column. So let me measure. I'm going to create a measure here. So the measure I'm going to create is the count of row for the class friends class ID. So count of classes attended or classes to attend. Count of classes to attend. So count of classes to attend. I will say in this measure I want to push. I already went and click on OK. Okay. So count of classes to attend, I will say count row. So I'm going to use count row to do that. So count row, and then count row, I want to count the class ID. So class ID, class. So look for it. Should be down. It's not here. So in the merge table, so merge, I want to count this one. So count that, close my bracket, enter. With that counted, I can bring in that column. So now, that's wrong. It's not supposed to be 5. So after total 5 class attended. Oh, let me create my. Am I getting the class name? Oh, okay. The class name is coming from this part, and the other one is coming from. Let me create a directional distance today. Let's create a cross filter direction. Cross filter direction. It's not working. It's still giving us 5. Uh, no, sorry, it's working here now. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 classes attended. Where is the count? Oh, okay. H plus student. Let me change the count. Count row measure. Count. Okay, wait. Let me use count. Just count. Let's see. Count. So count is going to count numbers. I used this number. Merge class. Count. Okay, so it's working now. So this is why I was supposed to use count. So I was using count row, and count row, it also counts the empty row too. So the empty row is being added to all of them there. So all the empty rows there is being added to all these ones too. So it's count. So I was meant to use count for that function that I used. So I was meant to use count. So you can see it now. So for Joy, she's attending 2 classes. For Kevin, 1. For Peter, 1. For Sandra, 1. And then for Timothy, attending 2. So our total classes is. So if you don't want to summarize that, you can just remove it. So you just wanted to know how many classes each and every one of the student accounts have. And I just want to know how many classes each and every one of the students attend. So this Timothy is 1. Timothy is 2. This one is 1. So remember, put it on my the relationship between these two is still a many to many, but instead of using that many to many relationship now, we bypass that by putting what we are meant to use to create the relationship in this one in another table, putting what we are meant to use to create the relationship in this one to in another table, then create the relationship through that table. So let's say we are bringing a smaller table which we are going to be using to create the relationship. For this part, for this one we have here, let me go this part. For this one, we have a big table, which is the star schema. This one was the star schema. Let me come. So this one is the big table that I have here. We are using that big table to create a relationship between the smaller tables. But for this one that we have, where we have many to many, what we just need to do is create a smaller table containing what you need to use to create a relationship between this table and this table. What does this table have that this one have? So that thing that both of them have, create another table that has that 2 columns there. So create another table that has that 2 columns there. Then from that small table, then you can create a relationship from this one to this one. So it's going to be instead of using this class ID and other, you can use your ID from this and create a relationship for this. Use your ID here and create a relationship for this part. So there's going to be a relationship between these two now, so that you can now filter them instead of using the many to many. So that is this. You can, if you want to use the many to many, you can use the many to many. You can use that. But this one is better to use. So this is one I use if I want to create something that has a many to many to it. But if you want to use the many to many cardinality, I showed you how to create that. I showed you the first time. If you have a many to many, so you can just drag them to this part. Anything, so you can just drag them to that. It's going to create the many to many. But this one is also the same thing, but just that we are using another way to do this. Instead of having it in one, instead of connecting the 2 tables, we have a smaller table that has an information on this, and then create the connection from that part. Do you understand that? Please, let's say something. If you don't understand, so that I can explain. We don't have much time. Do you understand? Is there anywhere we don't really get it? So basically, the many to many, to create a many to many, you have to have that the column that matches each other in different tables. You have to have plenty of it in that table, and the other one you have to have it has to have a duplicate value. It has to be duplicated here and it has to be duplicated there. That's many to many. So this one I just showed you is still the many to many, but it's just another way you can bypass it. And all those, so when I edit that many to many, it was showing me some message. So instead of using that many to many, I can do it this way and it will work. So I get it. So this is my many to many. This one has many of this here. So I get it. But instead of doing it, instead of just creating a relationship between both of them, I just have that ID. This ID now is in this place. This class ID is in this. I think. Okay, this is in this name. This is it. Yes. This class ID here. So this is the class ID here, and this is the student ID here. So I'm adding the student ID to this part and the class ID to this part, so that I can just use that 2 things to create the relationship. So I can create the relationship from this new table now, instead of creating it directly using my many to many here. Please, do we understand? This is national name. Do we understand? Nobody saying it. Can you still hear me?
Hello?
Mr. Shaw?
Yes, we can hear you. See,
Do you
the
understand?
bottom line.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, really. See, yeah, I can say I do technically. You understand? As for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah, I get it.
but because there's so many, how do I say this now? Navigations that you need to play and play over and play over. But if I can say now, the bottom line, based on many to one, many to many, which other one? Then one to many.
Yeah, and one to one.
So
yeah,
and one to one as well.
yeah.
So is that the information you have here before you can have, you must have it in another relationship. That's when this relationship can be established.
Yes.
Another type of relationship can be established. And when you choose all those things, Power BI automatically will give you the relationship that suits the particular one that you choose.
Yeah, even automatically, if you put any data inside here, you don't even need to do this relationship actually. Power BI will detect all this stuff you are doing now. I just want to show you how to do it, but Power BI will detect it automatically when you bring in any new data. I get it. So this relationship will be created automatically. Do you understand? But the reason why you need to create it, to know how to manipulate it, is that there are some places. Some places I was saying is when you need to use that your cross filter. So you actually need to, because Power BI, it does not do cross filter for you. It just give you the one to many. So I guess in a minute. So you need to know when you need to use the cross filter and when not to use it. So like this now, Power BI does not know when it actually needs to use it, because it knows that this is going to this place. So I guess it doesn't know if you want to use this one to also do this one. So that one is essential. You have to always, if you want to do something like that, you have to always come back to this place every time you create the other one. You have to come and do it if you want to use it. That's if it's that you have to use it. But if you don't want to use, if your data does not require that, Power BI will automatically create a relationship for you. It will automatically detect it and create the relationship. So, but practicing, you need to also know how to do that thing yourself. So you need to also know how to use that thing yourself. So that's why I just wanted to show you. But Power BI will automatically detect all those stuff for you. So, but that's basically to get a relationship, you have to have a corresponding data from the two tables that you are getting from. So you have to have a corresponding data from this table to this table. How about that corresponding data from this table to this table? Are you getting it? So the columns, column. So the column has to. So if you are using a fact table, which is the one we have here, as a big sales table, there is always, anybody that is creating the data, there is always going to be a column that is here that is going to be in this fact table. There is always. You don't have to be the one creating yourself. There is always going to be that, because you cannot be putting the data of your product sales and all that without having all those small, maybe the ID, so you're getting the name can be added there. So anybody that is creating the data, your data developer for any company, is always puts that, unless he's putting every of those stuff, it's going to be column in that one table that we have. So he's going to put it as a column in that one table. I can do that. All this stuff I can put it as a foot, as one table, as one column in this table. Now I can merge everything here, merge it into here, and I can use it. It's a big table for me. I can use it like that. So, but because they are different now, I can just create my relationship. Like I said, I can now create my relationship then. So if you put them in one full table, it's going to also take time for your data to load when you're refreshing it. So that's another reason why you need to also have the table in the first place. If they're packed in one table, refreshing your data is going to always take time. So you're creating that relationship between the two of them so that you'll be able to filter through the two of them. That's it. The many to many means, what it just means is that the column that you are trying to use to create the relationship has to have many of that, it has to have a duplicate of that value in this part. I also have to have that duplicate of that value in also this part. Let me use Excel as a definite listing. I think I should bring. So let's say now let me use, what should I do? Okay, let's say we are in a fun fair listing, and see someone, one player, you have players, you have a person, you have one customer. One customer in this thing can play more than one game. You can have one customer that is playing more than one game. And you can have plenty of your customer that is playing different games. So that means in this column, anything that you're using to create the connection, it will have many to many, because you're going to have many customers that are doing this thing here, that are playing that game, and you're going to have many games that many customers are playing. So you have a customer can be playing a game twice. So you have that game will be duplicated in your table, because this customer played this game twice. And you're going to have that customer in the maybe you have the customer name, where you're getting the customer name table from, and you have the main full sales table. So if you're creating a relationship between that, for example, I'm going to be using this one we have here as a, so for this table, I wish I can be showing the two tables at each other so I can explain it better. So you can see for this, so with this one now, it can be like that one I was talking about, where customers are playing different tables. So for this one, we have students. So our students can be attending 2 classes or 3. And you can have 3 classes that more than 1 student are attending. So if you're going to have a duplicate of that, maybe you are using your ID now, you are using your, maybe your, so what is the relationship between them? What's the link? What can you use to create a relationship between them? Each of them now. What can you use to create a relationship between them? Each of them, because in this place we have this one now is the student ID. So the student ID is here, but you can see if you come to this place, see where we have the student ID. Not this part. In this student class, so you can see this is the student ID here. So you should put this as a student ID. I think I should rename this. I should put it as student ID. So that you also know that student ID. So this is my student ID here. So this is loading. So you see, this is my student ID here, and then this is my, let me come to this class. This is my class ID here. So I'm going to change this to class ID. Class ID. So class ID, yeah, class ID here. So now, what do I have in here that I also have? That I also have in here that are many. So I can see, so for this part, I have class ID. So I have many class ID. So you can see I have 1. I also have 1 again. I also have 4. I also have 2 again. 5. So I think is duplicated. There are some code like that means there's some students that are attending 2 classes. Like that's why you have the students coming out twice. So you have ID 1. So I get in it. Then ID this, ID. So I get in. So there are students that are attending 2 different classes, because if you got, okay, let's say in this class ID now, ID 1, let's see what is ID 1 in class ID in the class. And these students, let's go to this guy is confusing sometimes. So in class now, what is ID 1? So ID 1 in class is math. So that means that you come to this place. This student Joy she's having maths in her own distance. She's having mathematics. So I guess that's 1. You have student, so you're getting it. So then come to this. Which one is 2? Which one is 2? So 2 is physics. So physics we're having 2 is okay. 3. I'm sorry. 2 is English. So who is attending English? Let's go to this place. So 2. Peter is attending English. So that's 2. So Peter is attending English here. So then, so you have, and also we have, remember that 1 is mathematics. So we have Joy attending mathematics, and we have Peter attending. We have Kevin attending mathematics too. So that's duplicate. You have Sam attending mathematics too. So that's 2 duplicate values. That's those 3 students now are attending mathematics. So that if you come to this place now, so that's why you have 1, 2. So you have this value now. That means this guy, number 1 is attending this class. Okay, this is student ID. So number 1, that means what is it called? In this place here, Joy, if you come to this class, Joy is attending. He's not just attending. Joy is not just attending maths. Joy is attending English. See, this is the student ID now. Joy is also attending English, and she's also attending maths. So that means we have duplicate value. That means Joy is attending 2 classes in this place. So that's is many here and also many here. So if you are using this thing as our link for the relationship, so you have many of those. The many of them are here, and also many of them are here. So it's going to create a many-to-many relationship. If you are using those 2 as the listing, so it's going to create a many-to-many relationship. That's how you create your many. That's your many-to-many relationship. If you want to create them, that's when you need to use it. So it doesn't come up that often, but when it comes up, that's how it has to be. So if it's like that, it creates a many-to-many relationship for you. But if for Power BI, it does not like to use that many. So whenever it comes in, it will not use many to many automatically. It's going to find any other. If there's no alternative, that it's going to choose the many to many for you. So I say, but because there might be an alternative that I can use, maybe one to one, to use that one to one or many to certain. But if you want to create it, you want to create many to many yourself, you just drag the column that are many here and the one that are the unique value that are many and this other part too. Just join the both of them together as your relationship basis. It's going to create the many to many for you. So that's just basically many to many. You have to have that values has to be duplicated here and also has to be duplicated here so that it will be able to create a many to many. But if you just one here and you have many here, it's going to create one to many. If it's just one here and one here, it's going to create one to one. So that's basically how it creates it for you. So that one I just showed you is a bypass of using the many to many relationship. So if you see when I used it, Power BI is also asking me to make sure that what I'm doing is correct. So I can make sure that it gives me the condition when you need to use your many to many, and I should make sure that it's correct. So if it's correct, it's going to use it for me. So I can but instead of using it that way, I showed you this way that is better for you to do that instead of using the many to many cardinality. You can just bring out that what is that value, what is that column that you have here, that you also have here that I want to use to create a relationship, the many to many relationship. You just need to do is put them in another table, then use them to create the relationship. So if you use them to create a relationship now, you can do whatever you can use that many to many relationship table when you create the link between these two to do. You can also do it when you have it like this. So you just have to have cross filter in there. Please, do you understand? Yeah, it's already 9 now. I have other stuff that I meant to talk about. Do we understand?
Hello, Mr. Kishlim.
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Ashwin.
Yeah. The data you use for this, you type it directly on the Power BI or you imported it?
No, I typed it on
When we
Excel.
were-
I typed it on Excel and I imported it. I typed it on Excel. Let me show you in Excel. I typed it on Excel.
Okay.
No, yeah. Let me go to that. Where's that data? An Excel file. Where is it? This is the data I use here. It's many to many. Let me check. Okay, this is it. This is one I use.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Many
so
to
that's
many, yes.
that's what I used to do that. So we're supposed to talk about entering into DAX today, but we cannot go because our time is so. The next class is going to be DAX, how to use DAX function, data analysis expression. That's where we are going to use that for that. But for this one, do we have any other issues, or do you have anywhere that we are sticky that we don't understand, so I can explain it if I call the class, if I call it a day for today? Do we have any other question? Do you have any question? Is there anywhere that is not clear? Mr. Kojo, you're not saying anything since I understand Mr. Juice part, but I don't know why you're not saying. Do you understand everything here?
Yes.
You understand? Okay, that's nice. That's
I understand
nice.
that there have to be a relationship between
the two of them.
Tables.
Yeah.
Where there is a one-to-one.
Many to many. Yeah, all those stuff. So that's basically it.
Many to one.
Yeah, yes. So all this one is not a work you need to do. Maybe once in a year, or maybe once in a data. That's where you need to do that. Because Excel will always create a relationship if you're having it. And sometimes your data will just come in one table. But if it's coming in different tables, Excel Power BI will always create that relationship for you. So the only thing you need to do is the cross filtering. When you see that you need to do a cross filter, you just come in there and do that. That's it, because your relationship will always be detected. Or maybe the one that is the column that Isaiah is using to create a relationship. Maybe you have another column that you can use that you don't want to use that one there. You can also do that. That's depending on what you want to do and how you want to create a relationship. So that's basically how you create a relationship in Power BI. That's basically how you want. So that's that. So in the absence of any other question, I'm going to call it a day. So my assignment to you is, I'm going to give you different data. I'm going to be sending it to the group. Just delete the one you have there and just go through all the relationships you have there. Go through them, use it to do some visuals, see why you need to use it, like the one I was doing there. So I'm going to send you 3 data. I'm going to send you that one that I did for the many to many. Oh, okay. No, I'm going to send you the data. Let me just send. So just go through that, create relationships within them, And then you can just do a manual, like a small visualization, maybe use table. So I guess in it, maybe use table and do maybe something like this now. Create a cross filter for me. The one you're going to show me just is a picture, just snap a picture for the one you're going to show me. Practice the relationship on your own when I give data. But what I want you to do as your own listing is I want you to create a cross filter relationship with something like maybe this something like this data. No, not this one. I'm going to send this one. So something like this data here. I'm going to send it. So you create a cross filter relationship between. Let me make it smaller. Create a cross filter relationship between so that I can use what you have here to filter this one. So use what you have here to filter this one. So you create a cross filter relationship between going like this to like this and like going also from here to this plus. So you can filter from here to this. I filter from like this to this place, and you can also filter from here to this side. Everything. So you, after doing that, after doing the cross filter, then create a small visuals. Just any of them, you can just bring them in there. Just create, don't do the measure part, just create a small visual, maybe showing the name of the product and then the product ID. So it's just showing them between that. So just showing them. And if you also want to do the measure, it's quite simple. That's what I'm going to teach you in the next class, but it's quite simple. Just do where you want to put the measure in. I'm just going to put that so that you can actually use it if you want to make use of it in the assignment. So just when you want to create a measure in, you just right click on that place. So I want to create my measure in this table here. You know, I have different tables. I have the store, the Apocalypse store. I have the all these ones here. I don't need them. I have the customer. So where do I want to create the measure? I have to right click on that place. So where I want to create the measure is this Apocalypse sales. So right click on it and then click on new measure. I click on new measure. So under new measure, I can now type in the name of the measure I want to use. So what I want to do, what do I want to do? So maybe I want to count orders. So count of orders. So count of, I think I already did something like this. So I'm going to put 2 on it. Count of orders. So I'm going to put 2. So maybe I think I already did something like that. So it will not conflict the name. Count of orders 2. Then count. So what we want to do now is row. So we want to count the row. So if you're counting the orders, it has to be count row, not count number. So count row. You can use count number too. So count number is also counting anywhere you have number. Remember that the count and here and count in Excel is the same thing. It's the same thing. The count whenever you have number, it's going to count that cell. So it's just like cell, but this one is a row. Any row that you have a number that's going to count it. So you can use count. I can use count row too. So that's still the same thing. So with that now, click here, click on it, and then I'm going to use which row do you want to, so it's sales. So it's going to be the sales. It already automatically detects for me because I'm in the sales table. So I want to count the rows at the listing of the sales. Second, product ID of the sales. I want to count it. So I want to count that. I think I'm logging here. There's an error. Count. Okay, so let me choose one. I want to count product ID. Product ID. So product ID, that's what I want to count. I was just putting the Apocalypse sales table. Okay, I just do product ID. So let me do it again. So put the count, put the bracket, then what table do you, or what column do you want to count? So the product, I just type the name Apocalypse sales. So I'll see it. Product ID. So product ID, that's what I want to count. Or order ID. Let's just use order ID. That's count of orders. So order ID. So order ID, put that, and then close your bracket and enter. So it's going to create that measure for you. It's going to create that measure for you. So now, after creating the measure for you, if you have that relationship in there, what you can do now is you can just bring in the name from whenever you are bringing it in, then bring in the order. So you can bring in the name like this. So sorry, yeah, you can bring it in. It's going to bring in a new table for you. So bring it in now, then bring it. So, but now I don't want it to be. So now instead of you taking it from the sales table, you're going to be doing it from the. You're going to do what you're going to do for me now in your own assignment. My own, I'm doing product name, and I'm putting the count of what I did here is count of order. So I guess in it. My own is count of order. You have it there. For your own, you're going to create a cross filter. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be counting product ID in customer, we're going to be counting product ID here, count the product ID here, count the product ID, just count it. After counting it with your measure, get a count of product ID, then put customer name and then put product that they did. So just the way I did this one. In this here, create a measure. So after creating the measure, create a count of the product ID. And after counting the product ID, then bring in a column from the name column from your customer information table. Then bring in that count of product ID that you did. Just put it in a table for me. That's just what you need to do. All these ones I'm going to explain it later. Just put it in a table for me. That's my assignment. So create a count of the product ID in the store apocalypse, and then after creating it, then create a table. This is the table visualization here. This is the table visualization. If you can see it here, let me make it bigger. This is the table visualization here. So create a table visualization, then put in the customer name and the product and the count of product ID that you did with your measure. That is after that now. So now remember that if you're not using your cross filter direction, it will not be able to work. So that thing is just going to be showing you a total. So if you have your cross filter direction there, so that's what I just need you to do. So I need you to put your cross filter direction so that what you are bringing here will be filtered by any filter that you have there. Do you understand the assignment? I think I've explained for a long time. Mr. Shaw, have you written it down, or you just?
You already answered the question. You said you.
I already assigned the assignment already.
Please explain it to us on this thing. Just send everything to us on the WhatsApp. So we're still struggling to see.
Okay.
We're still struggling to put all these things down.
Because
this assignment you are giving now, we have to watch this thing over and over and over. That's for me, Osha, anyway.
Okay. No problem. I'll drop it in the group. So, is there any other question, Mr. Jude? Do you have a question, or should I just call it? Should we just call it today? Do you have any question? Is there any other question? Okay, so if there's no question, I'm going to call it a day. So I'm going to make sure I drop the video, so you go through it, and I'm also going to drop the assignment, and I'm going to drop this data that I used. So you go through it and practice, then do the assignment that I said you should do. Okay, so that's that. So have a great day, maybe. Okay, have a great day, a great night. Okay? And thanks for coming to the class today. Good night.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Good night.
Okay.